So that question was, how do you reframe your mindset, right? But this question that I'm about to ask is like, how do you actualize or see abundance when it's not your reality? So let me reshape the question. How do you see good? How do you see what you want when you are living what you absolutely do not want? How do you see the life that you crave and that you want, and if you are living the opposite? How do you actualize, how do you see, how do you manifest the idea of having the money or the job or whatever you want, the relationship, if you're behind on your bills, you're in that sense? How do you see what you don't see consistently and long enough to bring it into actuality, if you can?
I want to jump on this one because I constantly used to feel like I never measured up. And then somebody gave me this gem that said to celebrate your friends when they win. Celebrate your friends' wins. Because when the time comes for you to win, you're going to want them to celebrate with you. So I saw it as like, if my friends are winning and I'm celebrating with them, it's going to come back to me. And so it was just like, I can't ever be mad when my friends are winning, because I would never want anybody to be mad when I'm winning. So that was the first thing that I thought about in actualizing like abundance when it's not in my current reality. Celebrating my friends. Hey, my friends got a podcast and they got 100,000 subscribers. What? I'm watching, I'm subscribing, I'm sharing, because that's what I want eventually, right? And if they don't, this is like how we propel one another. So that's what came up. That's the first thing. The second thing that came up recently, a friend of mine shared that she had a leak in her home. She woke up, she got 2 children under the age of 5, and woke up, her and her husband, is a leak in the home, right? The water tank burst. And the abundance in that, they got the money to fix it. So it's like, and then I had to think about it spiritually. Water leaking, water flowing is abundance. So again, if we reframe what disaster, what tragedies, what those things kind of look like sometimes, then there's like, oh, well, that shifts the reality of it for me. This means I'm about to be abundant coming out of this year, you know? And then the other thing that came up for me was, okay, if I don't have it, do I have access to a network that has these resources? And that's absolutely always a yes. We are always, my friend, this is my friend's quote, you are always one conversation away from having the life of your dreams. So think about that. We are only one conversation away from a network of resources, right? And I might have made her quote a little bit of my quote, but that's the gist of it. And the last thing that I put down is something that I do every now and again, and it's a technique. It's called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, also known as tapping. Right. So there's different points on our face, on our body, right, that we can tap to release emotions, to awaken and invigorate abundance emotions, or that abundance frequency. And so that's what I end with. Tapping. Different pressure points. I'm tapping because I'm like, yep, $100,000 this year, $100,000. I have unlimited resources. I'm tapping. So, maybe there's another session where I go through all the different points of tapping. But yeah, that's how I actualize abundance when it's not there, because I also know that it is always there. It's always flowing. So it's just in my mind, I got to turn on that switch where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm human still. So I do have my emotion. I'm like, damn, that account says negative $13. What are we going to do today? And maybe there's somebody that I can ask and reach out to. And that's what I also try to implore into my family. You have a family, so you're never like without. And so sometimes we do get ourselves in a situation where we're like, I don't want to ask. But sometimes we got to be that one to ask, right? Because so it shows the other person who's afraid to ask, hey, I asked, so you can ask too. So yeah, I'm complete. That's those are the things that I feel like are helpful to have me see that I can actualize abundance when it's not in my reality.
I want to say two things. I want to not piggyback, but I want to comment on two things that you spoke on. Well, the latter, asking, right? A lot of people, you say it's pride. You say a lot of people. I know myself, like grew up asking, ask nobody for nothing, da, 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 da. And even that stuck or whatever. Now in today, like I try to be like I'm trying to, because there's nothing wrong with asking for help.
That's
Rich
right.
people ask for help,
That's
successful people
right.
ask for help. They just know who to ask, and they don't act, what I'm saying, they don't ask for something that they could do themselves. But there's nothing wrong with asking for help. As a social being, socially we interact with other people, like we helping each other out inadvertently, whether we know it or not, every single day. Unless you're staying in the house, you're not doing nothing, you Oscar the Grouch, you're helping somebody, you're doing something. So if you really need it and you cannot ask somebody, you're not utilizing all the tools of being a social being. That's your loss. That's your problem. That's not a strength that you have because you're not asking. That's a
Mm-hmm.
weakness in certain instances. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to say that because we are a lot of people are brought up not to ask. Like it's shunned upon. Like you look broke, you look like you
Right.
needy, you look like but in hindsight, in all actuality, you are broke, you are all these things, and you all this and the third, and you're not asking for help, so you're gonna stay all those things, and you could still put on the front and act like you're all good, so that people could not view you as somebody who needs help, but it's okay to need help. So I wanted to say that on
Felt
that part.
personal then, Cynthonia, when you said you are broke. You are. I'm like, oh, she's talking
I'm
to me right now.
not no shade, no shade.
Yeah,
But you know what I'm saying? You
It's
know what
only
I'm saying? Like,
temporary.
it's
but you
real.
don't have to stay
It's
broke if
real.
you don't want to. That's what I say. But the other
Yeah.
thing that I wanted to say, and I wanted to say something to this because this is a lesson for me spiritually, um, and just taking accountability for myself. Sharing, right? You said share your friends win. Like you celebrate your friends. I celebrate all day. I
Mm-hmm.
celebrate. But me not being a social media like personnel, and not being I never was the type to share my own stuff. Like I didn't post my own stuff in this, that, and third. So like I had friends that were doing all this and doing all that or whatever. I could text you, I can call, I could say congrats, I could do all of this or whatever, but I never understood. I don't care about social media. This is this is actually a couple months ago. Like I'm not into social media like that. I don't post. Why I gotta post? Because you're obsessed with that. You feel like I'm wrong, or I'm not being a good friend because I didn't post your thing. Like I'm not, but it's when you said that, like it's true. Even though it don't hurt me to post it. It don't hurt me to post it, even though I don't really care for posting or whatever. Like it don't hurt me to post it neither. And like you said, it's just if you love it and you're proud of it, and I'm your friend, and you love your social media and you wanted to, you know what, I'll put it up there because it's not a big deal, as long as it's not offensive or it's hurting my brand, my, what I'm saying, like so that's something that yeah, that's something that I had to learn. That's something that yeah, we want maybe because I never really cared, or because people never showed up for me or celebrated me. I never really I never really celebrated myself neither, so I never really cared to celebrate other people. Like I could be happy for you, it's supposed to be like, oh, let me shout. I never really cared about that. Nobody did that for me. So but as I grow older, like I mean, as I get older and I mature in the spirit and I mature, as an individual, like I said, it don't hurt me. It don't hurt me. If you love it, it is what it is.
And I'm glad that you mentioned the social media, because I actually wasn't really
Talking
just
about that.
focusing on social media alone, but it was just like just being in the energy to like just like verbally tell a friend like, hey, my friend is
Oh
doing
yeah,
this,
I do
because
that all
I'm
day.
also like, I've taken a little break off of the social media too, but I see my friends doing things, so when I talk to other people, that's how I'm celebrating them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I'm sharing their wins. Like, it don't have to be a post, it don't have to be a subscribe, it don't have to be a share. It could just be like calling another friend, hey, I got a friend who's doing some dope ass things about such and such and such. You know what I mean? So it's not always just about the social media sharing. It's just about being in the essence of like, yo, I got some dope people around me, and I want the people who are, who don't know about them to know about them. So I'm gonna text it, that type of thing. So it don't have to be social media, because I'm also trying to get into the space where I want to enjoy posting. I want to enjoy, those things. And when I was on it, I was sharing my friends things. I did enjoy promoting them and stuff like that. But I want to be engaged with it in a way that is more authentic to where I am now. So, it will evolve. And I think that, like you said, you don't always get a good feeling about being on it, even promoting yourself. So it's like, you're going to eventually get to a point, though, where it's just like, oh, it's just second nature. Or if maybe I'm gonna be in that space too, where it's like AI doing it for me, and I already like, rinse my hands of it. Because sometimes it's also like, with social media, it could just be just a job. But then again, like, I'm looking at like, how do I communicate? I talk on the phone, I text. So that's how I want to be engaging and sharing with people now. You know what I mean? And then maybe it's going to be a newsletter, right? Because I want to go back to like, not, I'll take that back. Cross out, go back. I just want to be in a space, like you mentioned, present. Like, I just want to be present. I want to be present with people. And so sometimes social media doesn't always feel so present. So,
there's too much performative stuff. And I think that, it goes back to, I think my answer is about what do I regard as abundance?
Good.
Because I feel abundant having the space to think. I feel abundant having the space to be able to work on this podcast, which I wouldn't have been able to do if I wasn't in the current situation that I'm in. So although my bank don't look abundant, my life is abundant. You get what I'm saying? And there's this whole, we're in this world where it's all this, everybody's got to see it and it's got to look like this, and you got to be doing something. Doing something is, stillness is doing something. Introspection is doing something. Self-reflection is doing something. And I know for me, in my current circumstance, I've been put in this position. For 3 years, I've been out of my job and building this business. And in the last 3 months, I've been pushed all the way inside myself through a health condition. God is forcing me into introspection in order to have the time and the space to visualize the next bit. If I'm not taken out of the mix, I can't see what I'm trying to create. And I know that as a feminine as well, and being highly creative, that the Most High, I'm a conduit for creation. I think you have to know yourself. So if it's not in your nature, if you're not comfortable sharing other people's things, don't do it, because authenticity is the highest vibration. Don't force yourself out of your authentic self because other people want you to. Don't do it if you don't want to do it. You know what I'm saying?
True.
I like that.
Abundance isn't about money, and an abundance isn't about having 1,000,001 things on your CV that the whole world can see. Abundance might be helping to rebuild Jamaica after a hurricane. Having the space and the energy and the heart to do that. Abundance for me right now is being around my children, being at home while they've done their A-levels, done their GCSEs. Ome's coming home today, supporting her to move out, having the time and space to do that. That is abundance. And I think for me to be able to create abundance when I can't see it, I think there's only one period in my life where I really haven't seen it, which you're all aware of. That relationship that was abusive, highly negative, and I had to go through that to close off some things in my world, and to really see what that does to me and my spirit being in such a negative environment. But I feel abundant. I've always been that type of person. I've always been a glasses half full person. So for me, I think gratitude is the foundation for abundance and seeing what's coming. You know, I'm always grateful. I've always been grateful. I was that little kid that was grateful for nothing. You know what I mean? Oh, thank you so much. You know, and I've got I've got two that are like that. You know what I mean? That are grateful for you. Give them a sweetie, and they're like, "Oh, look at me, sweetie, mommy. I love you so much. You're the best mommy." You know, I think gratitude is really, if you can be grateful and be aware that there's always someone worse off than you, whatever you think. And whatever they're trying to sell us as this is how it's supposed to be, that's your dream. You don't know my dream. We all have our own dreams and our own purpose, you know.
That's funny. Oh, go ahead, Arma.
No. I was really just gonna say
no, Arma.
the abundance.
Arma.
No,
I'm saying your brother. I'm saying.
But I just wanted to say, kind of like what you said about abundance. Like, that's it. It's that, just gratitude. Excuse me. What you said about gratitude. Yeah. That is it. That is it. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
You know what? I like the way that Tone brought this question in, because just looking at it how it's worded, it's kind of vague. When you look at the definition of abundance, right? Like what Caroline was just saying. According to what Google pulls up, abundance is a very large quantity of something. So that's not saying, you know, it has to be money, or it has to be friends, or it has to be a relationship. But then when we get specific on what we want abundance to be for us, who are we being to get that abundance? Then it starts with that, like you said, that gratitude. I'm grateful for where I'm at right now, or what I have, so that way I can generate abundance. And that's something I think I even used to actually answer the question in the promo, was just being grateful, like you said, that gratitude piece. So abundance is wherever we're at and what we're dialed into. We tap into abundance by just being grateful and aware of where we're at, and that we can generate that abundance from being, which are from being.
100,000,000,000%. I would say
all of y'all's voice on that, and to kind of make it I hope a full circle, is recognizing that all that we are and all that we do is energy, right? So if you're putting out thoughts of I can't, or I'm this, or I'm missing this, or I'm lacking in this way, you will lack. If you're sitting in a space where, hey, I'm in a household and there are people outside in cardboard boxes, then that kind of changes your perspective. In that same instance, like as far as celebrating your friends or supporting your families and whatnot, abundance can be the abundance of love, the abundance of joy, the abundance of light, which what you should seek first. Because once you realize that abundance, once you realize the abundance of being able to go outside and take a breath of fresh air, and having that humbleness to be able to go back inside where it's synthetic, I think that expands your mindset as far as life is concerned. The fact that we've been preconditioned to think that abundance is just financial is part of the reason why a lot of us miss the plot. Like, if you're abundant in love, if you're abundant in appreciation for what you already have, if you're abundant in appreciating your journey and where you came from, you can visualize and actualize a future that looks like what you want it to look like. You can give yourself enough room to grow. But if you're stuck in a mindset of I can't and I won't and woe is me and I'm sad and this, that, and the third, you'll never put one foot in front of the other to make that happen, because it also, faith without good works is dead, right? So if you're not putting forth any effort to bring forth whatever version of abundance you want, how are you expecting it to come to you? Energy is reciprocal. If you're not putting out any energy of that effect, you're not going to get it. So that's how I have learned to reframe that. I'll be the first one to tell anybody I was not of this mindset. You know what I mean? I've been the follower. I've been the woe is me person. I've also been, Tone, to your point, the person who didn't want to ask, even recently. Like, and I have, because from my perspective, I was raised in a situation where if you asked, it was hung over your head forever. Like, if I give you something, I'm giving it to you out of the kindness of my heart, but I'm going to remind you of it every day for the next 10 years. So as I grew up, I took that as, all right, I'm going to be fiercely independent. I don't need you for anything because I'm not trying to hear it. You're not going to hold anything over my head. So juxtapose that with being in a situation where someone is willingly wanting to help you out of the kindness of their heart without any strings, and you don't know how to process that because you're so used to the opposite. And that is where that's where the next levels in the nuances of challenges lies. Sometimes it is literally getting out of your own way to realize, to bring it home, abundance. That's an abundant thing. To have gone through all of these things and experienced all of this and have elevated so much in your journey where you actually have an individual who's willing to extend to you without strings. That's abundance. And had you not gone through what you've gone through, talking about myself, had I not through what I've gone through and learned to distance myself from energy that doesn't serve me and align myself with energy that does, I wouldn't be reaping those benefits. This podcast is a benefit. You know what I'm saying? Like, being in a space with like-minded individuals where we can pour out, which is also putting good energy into the world that will be reciprocal. You know what I mean? All of these things will bear fruit if more people lean into that, no matter what it looks like in their world, whether it's sweeping the floor without being asked, or holding the door for somebody without automatically expecting them to say thank you, just doing it because it's the kind thing to do. Little things like that. It's like a piggy bank. You keep on depositing all this positivity. All of that is going to recoup at some point.
I've got to say then, off the back of that, got to jump in, Adriana, because you got it moving.
Because I could go on and on. I'm in a state of gratitude, man. I'm telling you, I'm just seeing a lot. But go ahead.
No, because it is, the better you become, it's all a mirror, as Irijah said. And when you are that thing, when you are loving and positive and giving and all of that, it does come back to you. But you've got to believe you're worthy of it. Because I know I've shut down things I've been worthy of before because I couldn't believe that it was true. Why are you helping me all this much? Why are you want something from me? My best friend Sonia right now, when I first met Sonia, I was like, what is this with this woman? She was dropping me to work. She was picking me up in the morning. She wouldn't take no money for petrol. And, we're how many years? 15 years down the line now. Yeah, because the girls were 3 and 4 at the time, I think. So we're like 14 years later. And that's just who she is. And I attracted her because I'm like that, But sometimes we don't want to feel like we're worthy of things. I've destroyed things, And I watched this guy the other day on a podcast and he was saying, this woman, the best woman, she was everything. And I destroyed it because I couldn't quite believe that she wanted me, And he said that he went round her house one time. I was like, salute to you for telling the truth, geezer. Because he said, I went round her house one time and she cooked this banging meal. And he was like, I asked for the recipe off her and I got the recipe. And, and he goes, when I was on my way home, I was like, I'm not good enough for this. And cut it off.
I can relate to that. That's crazy.
I think we've all done it and we've all talked about almost doing it with this at times as well. Because there's been times with this where I'm like, these people are too nice. Like, why are they so nice? You've got it done. The universe, they tell you, all spiritual teachings will tell you, you've got to believe that you deserve it to receive it.
That's right.
Yeah.
But so that's what I was just wanting to say off the back of what you said, Adriana, because I absolutely, I get it that you attract who you are. And it's knowing that as you rise, for all those people on this spiritual journey that are rising, you're going to start attracting different people, and they're going to seem too good to be true.
Yeah.
And past experiences may make you want to reject them.
And
That's
also,
the challenge.
I'm thinking about, because you
Let me
brought up
just.
the
I want to answer the question before we move on. No, I just want to say I do want to answer the question myself. But go
yeah,
ahead. I just don't want you to move on to the next question before I answer. That's all.
even though that you didn't get around to it, so pardon self.
No, no. You was getting ready to go to the next question. Oh yeah, see that's why I was wanted to jump in. I didn't want to interrupt. I just want to say quickly, I'm not going to be long because two things. Sister Caroline, you already. That's what I do. Like, and Adriana, perception. Like I said, perception, being present, and like because what you think, how you speak, is more. People say it all the time, and we hear it all the time, like how important your words are, and this and the third. Before your tongue even feels the wind on your tongue getting ready to roll off as you get ready to speak, it starts in your mind. What you like, so if you think and if you seeing and you're living in, nah, I live pretty good, I'm not gonna hold you, but like if you're in a situation that you want to be better in and you're in the situation, it's about closing your eyes and freaking daydreaming about what you want. Close your eyes and imagine and take time, sit down, do it. Even if you do it 5 minutes at a clip, do it often. Close your eyes and see it, like, you know what I'm saying, like, so that's one thing that I do often. And well, I'm also a very imaginative person. I love being in my head, so I got the cheat code. And another thing that I do also is, don't take this the wrong way, because I don't, let me just say it, like I'll help somebody, like I help people, like if I'm feeling like I'm not at a point where I should be or I want to be financially. It's usually mostly financially because I feel like I should be rich already, like a millionaire, right? But I help somebody, like I give somebody like money to get some coffee, or you know what I'm saying, like I'll buy a pack of socks for somebody sitting outside, and like I do something like that. And I know, like, because even if they don't, most of the time, like 90% of the time, they thank you. Oh, you're gonna be blessed. That's what I really go for. I love when they be like, "You're gonna be blessed." And I'm like, "Yeah, thank you." Grab my change. But even if I don't, like it, I really, really feel like I really feel it. Like I smile from the heart. You know what I'm saying? When I'm able to do something for somebody like more unfortunate than me in a situation, so that helps me, like, to feel like, not that I'm not more, but it helps me feel more. It helps me feel like I have more, or that I'm more. You know what I'm saying? When I'm able to help somebody do something. So those are the two things that I do. And I'm sorry, that was me.
No need to apologize. Like I said, pardon self, because sometimes we're so engulfed in the conversation that I forget the order of who just answered or whatever just happened in that way, because it's natural. So we
Mhm.
were talking about attraction, and our fifth and final question is reflective of that. How does the reflection of our spiritual growth show up in our relationships now?